Okay, folks, I guess I'll get things started here. It's 5:33 p.m. So far we have 21 people, including a few of the panelists, which includes myself in the meeting. Certainly, hopefully more join in, and I believe there were a few out on YouTube watching as well. So again, a quick introduction of who I am. My name is Chuck White. I'm with Barton & LaJudas. We are the engineering consultant working with the Village of Clayton. This broadcast tonight is the public information session for the Village of Clayton REDI initiative, REDI Projects initiative. I guess a couple things I'd like to touch on as we're getting started here. I'd like to ask that folks please mute their audio devices just to reduce noise and background. We did have a little feedback early on. I think we've got that addressed. In order to submit questions, down at the bottom of the screen, there is a Q&A box where you can submit written questions. We do have a few of our team here actively will be monitoring the Q&A that comes in throughout this webinar. And at this point, please submit questions at any time. We're going to try to go through them at the end and hopefully answer any questions that do come in. But that said, please use the function, and we're interested in your input. I also want to note that this session is being recorded. It's also being live streamed on YouTube currently. And this recording will be used to document the meeting as well as for future website postings. I'd also like to acknowledge a few key local officials that really make this are making this project possible. Mayor Norman Zimmer, Terry Jones, the DPW superintendent, Carrie Tuttle with DANG, who's helping administer the project on behalf of the village, and Dennis Weller, who's been a great help to both the village and the team here supporting us through the CLDC. All right, so what is the REDI? What is the Lake Ontario REDI initiative? Well, in short, in response to extended patterns of flooding that have occurred on both Lake Ontario and the St. Lawrence River dating back to 2017 and 2019, Governor Cuomo created the REDI initiative, which is the Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative, with a primary goal of increasing the resiliency of the shoreline communities and to promote economic development throughout the regions. There are 5, quote, REDI regions, which are comprised of 8 counties along the northern border of New York. Those counties also border either Lake Ontario or the St. Lawrence River. Basically, these regions were established to focus on at-risk infrastructure, other assets, and public safety concerns. The REDI Commission has allotted over $20 million for homeowner assistance, as much as $30 million for resiliency of businesses. $15 million has gone towards local regional dredging efforts, and that's throughout the 8-county area. And the remaining $235 million has been allocated towards local and regional projects that are trying to focus on promoting the REDI mission, which again is to increase the resilience of the shoreline communities and bolster economic development in the region. This is a great image. This kind of shows you what we're talking about here. This is an image that was taken just following the Halloween storm in 2019. And of course, that was another record year of high waters, and you can see the effects of what wind and high water can do on the shoreline in the village of Clayton. So Clayton, the village has as many other North Country communities, has been very successful with the REDI program. The village of Clayton has been in total awarded just over $8.6 million for 5 separate REDI projects. It's important to note that the REDI program is a reimbursement program through New York State, in that the REDI actually pays for 95%, and the local match of 5% does come from the local community. As I mentioned, there are 5 project awards that were made. One is to the Riverwalk, approximately $2.5 million. And again, want to focus on the key importance or main goal for these projects is to improve resiliency of the infrastructure that exists today. The second is Village Docks by the Veterans Memorial Monument. And effectively, that's surrounding installation of new wave attenuation systems to better protect the harbor on the north side of the village there, as well as the docks that are there for public use. The third project is the Mary Street Dock and Boat Launch. That is approximately $2.5 million, and the focus of that is to replace in kind the existing aging Mary Street Dock, as well as incorporate some improvements adjacent to the boat launch. The fourth award is to the Frink Park Regional Dock. That's a much smaller award. However, that money will go towards some repairs, underwater repairs that will further support the longevity of the retaining wall system and the dock itself. And the fifth project, which is the first 4 that I've mentioned here tonight, are really being progressed in concert with one another. The fifth project, though, is with the wastewater treatment plant and the Riverside Pump Station upgrades enhancement. And that's nearly $2.4 million of REDI funding available for that. That project is being done independent of the first 4, but is well underway. And we'll talk a little bit more about the details of the 5 projects as we get further into the presentation this evening. Specific to the Riverwalk, we're looking to rebuild and elevate a section from John Street to the DiPrenzio's Kitchen, as well as the corner down near Attilio's Pizza. Both sections are at lower elevations, as well as those are old sections that have either A, never been reconstructed through prior projects, and B, are constructed of older methods. For example, in front of Attilio's, that's actually a wooden crib system that supports the river walk through there. As you know, DiPrenzio's was rebuilt not too long ago, but there are existing portions of the sheet piling retaining wall that are from the original construction of the sheet piling, the same generation as the section that failed at the end of John Street as well, that would be reconstructed. And we're focusing primarily on that around what we're calling DiPrenzio's Corner here, as well as trying to bring the elevation of that up a little bit to help deal with high water scenarios in the future. I mentioned the section at Attilio's Corner. As we refer to it, you can actually see in this image the old wooden crib system and see very evident the lower elevation that this is as compared to the adjacent sections. And the intent would be to raise this up and construct it with more modern methods that are going to be stable long term. And this is the section of the Riverwalk west of John Street. This was primarily reconstructed during 2018 through the phase 3 or section 3 of the Riverwalk expansion. And that was done through a grant with through the New York State DOT. I believe that was a TAP funded project. And that was completed in 2018. The actual sidewalks, the colored concrete did extend over other portions that will be reconstructed or repaired by the REDI. But again, this retaining wall / sheet piling is new and is built to current standards. And as everyone is aware, other than by elevation, it certainly had no issue with the high water or the October storm. There are some other concepts that are being floated for down in this area to deal with energy dissipation when high waters do occur. There are some other challenges as well with selecting the best elevations for the section of Riverwalk through here and how to best manage that. And that's something that we're in the process of looking into in more detail, and certainly would be open to input from the local community as well. The Monument Park dock / attenuator, as we refer to it, this is the second project, and this would entail actually just to take a step back, the existing docks that are in poor condition, and we'll talk more in detail about that as I move forward here, are actually a wave attenuating dock system today. But this REDI funding would look to pay for an additional set of attenuators that will replace the existing smaller attenuators that exist today to provide additional wave protection for what I'm calling the entire harbor here, as well as promote calmer docking on the outside of the existing wave attenuating dock that is there today. Mary Street Dock, the third project in line here. As many know, this dock is nearly 70 years old. It certainly stood the test of time. It is in need of repairs. You'll see in the photos here attached, missing staving and other items that less easy to see. But the REDI funding has provided the village the opportunity to effectively reconstruct this dock in kind. It's 500 feet long today, maintaining the same width, and currently we're looking at maintaining the same elevation. This dock remained above water during the 2017 and 2019 high water conditions. So this is actually higher than some of the areas of the Riverwalk today. As part of this, we're also looking, and I'll touch on this here in a moment, to do some improvements around the boat ramp. As many may know, that when we did have the high water conditions, the fixed dock adjacent to the boat ramp was underwater. Just some more images of the Mary Street dock. Reconstruction would allow us to maintain the lighting that's there, the other infrastructure, including the shore power connections, and so on and so forth. So those would certainly be maintained. You actually get a glimpse of the structure beneath there looking under, and certainly is in need of some repair. Just another view again. This dock is actually, there are portions that are cribbed, as you can see here. There are also portions that are pile driven. So it's been constructed of, I guess, in many different pieces over the years, repaired and maintained, and it's really kind of interesting. We did bring underwater survey crew in using divers to do full inspections of Mary Street dock, as well as, I didn't mention this earlier, we did the same for the Frink regional dock, as well as along the entire shoreline of the Riverwalk, to just make sure that we weren't able to didn't identify any damage that you can't see from above. In other words, things were intact, but it really was helpful for us to gauge and understand the conditions of these structures, what repairs are warranted, and it's really supporting the full in-kind replacement of the Mary Street dock. A moment ago, I mentioned we're looking at doing some improvements through this project as well to the boat launch. This is the fixed dock that exists today. This dock is a slight bit lower than the adjacent Mary Street dock, and during the high water conditions of 2017 and 19, this dock was submerged, which unfortunately during the highest water conditions really rendered the launch ramp unusable. So we're looking at using a floating dock system that can address higher highs and lower lows in combination with a section of likely another section of fixed dock here at a higher elevation, so that the village is able to keep this launch ramp functional for the community as a whole during the high water conditions and the lower lows that are likely to be experienced as we move forward in time. And the Frink regional dock, as I mentioned, we did do underwater investigations here as well. The one issue that was identified is there are some voids at the foot of the sheet piling wall, which is back beneath the actual face of the dock. The good news is, the voids haven't resulted in any damage, but the even better news is the REDI funds will allow for filling of these voids, and we're looking to use a grout bag strategy to basically fill these voids and prevent any future potential for undermining due to wave action or high or low water conditions as it may be. So that will again work towards the long-term resiliency of this good feature for the village. Kind of a plan view here shows the entire length of the Frink dock. And again, we're looking to install grout bags underwater at the toe of where the sheet piling currently meets the riverbed. Right now, we've assumed that we're going to do that, and we're going to shore up pretty much the entire length of the sheet piling just as a resiliency effort, even though there aren't gaps over the entire length, but certainly that will be done. Typical, you might actually install large stone armoring, but the beauty of the grout bags is those are able to be installed without having to use large equipment. We can do that from underwater operations and really not be destructive to the existing dock. And fifth, but certainly not last project is the wastewater treatment plant upgrades. Again, REDI is funding a significant amount of this as well. This will convert chlorine contact tanks and basically changing how the plant's going to operate. It will upsize the tertiary filtration systems and provide additional redundancy. Upsize the UV disinfection, again, for additional and full redundancy. Wastewater treatment plant generator size will be increased, and new electrical services will be provided. Part of this project also will address issues at the Riverside Drive pump station by expanding the wet well and installing new dry pit submersible pumps and a new emergency generator. Again, all stuff that is aimed at long-term operations and resiliency of this important asset to the village. I think it's important to I kind of roll back to the Halloween storm. And because there's more at play here. I think the community would certainly walk down John Street and say, "Whoa, now there's a problem right there. That's a failure. What has happened here?" I want to point out that while this section of sheet piling where it has failed received the surface treatments of the phase 3 creek walk, including the new colored concrete walkway and such, that was really just applied over what was there existing. This is actually one of the last remaining, and from here down to Prenzio's corner is the last remaining original sections of sheet piling wall that failed. So this is not a portion of what was originally, or excuse me, I shouldn't say originally, but what was recently installed further to the west. This, is unfortunate, but this will be addressed, not by the REDI though, rather this is, and I'll talk more in detail about it, going to be addressed through a FEMA grant. And in fact, the FEMA grants for the 2019 disaster, which are directly related to the occurrence of the Halloween storm, those improvements are specifically focused on the failure of the retaining wall here at John Street, as well as replacement of the dock system you see there, which, as I noted earlier, is actually a combination of dock and wave attenuation. It's really got a deep section to it. So that dock/wave attenuator would be replaced, as well as the seawall failure and section of the Riverwalk failure. It would be replaced through the FEMA program, not the REDI program. I did just highlight here the existing small section of wave attenuator that would be covered under the REDI program, as we already discussed. Now, this is FEMA Disaster Declaration 4472. Similar to REDI, the FEMA is a reimbursement type project, and it's focused on the dock/wave attenuator replacement and the reconstruction of the wall failure at the Veterans Memorial Monument at the end of John Street. The village is currently working through final approval process with FEMA. They're hopeful that the project will be approved. I mean, it's been identified. It takes time with FEMA early this winter, and they're hopeful to be able to have repairs completed in 2021, which would include working on, to some extent, a parallel schedule to the REDI project improvement work, but would include reconstruction of that failed section of the Riverwalk. And by the way, that will be at a slightly higher elevation, and also replacing the dock/wave attenuator system. Estimated costs for the FEMA work is approximately 1.6 million. Again, as I noted, the FEMA program is also a reimbursement program, not quite as generous as the REDI. It's 75-25 share. So the local community is responsible for a 25% match, whereas with the REDI work, it's a 95-5. Moving along here, just to let you folks know where we've come to date. In February of this year, we completed what is referred to by the REDI as the 10% preliminary engineering report, or PER. That really established the scope and the cost for the REDI projects. And that was a timeline that every REDI project in the state fell in on, and they had all submitted the same. So other communities like Alex Bay and Cape Vincent down the road that also have REDI funding, so we're following similar project schedules there. As I mentioned, we've completed underwater investigations so that we know what we're dealing with. Ground survey and topography has been, and it was completed just recently this summer. We are in the throes of having a subcontractor mobilized to do subsurface investigations at the Mary Street dock. So here very shortly, and it may be as early as I think next week, or the week following, now that we're coming to the Thanksgiving holiday, the contractor will be mobilizing with a barge, and you'll see a barge out there actually doing some drilling. And the intent of that is to get a better handle of what type of subsurface conditions we're dealing with below the riverbed, location of bedrock, and so on and so forth. Through part of our design efforts, we're looking and we're performing hydrodynamic and wave models. Those are in progress right now, and basically, in a nutshell, that really gives us, what we have to design to, and it identifies, the forces of the waves, the ice, and so on and so forth that will be, ultimately applied to the various features that we're designing, whether it be out on the north side of the village, kind of on the main channel there, or tucked back in here in French Creek Bay along Mary Street dock. And really those like subsurface investigations and the modeling, it's all part of our preliminary design process, which is underway currently. Milestones moving forward, we have completed the environmental seeker reviews, which is great. We are working with agencies to get through the environmental permitting currently as we speak. That includes permitting through agencies such as the New York State DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers. And there are other local state level permitting agencies we're working with also. We're targeting design documents for spring of 2021, looking, hopefully it's an aggressive schedule, but to bid in the summer of 2021 and looking to begin construction following the end of what we'll call the summer season after Labor Day in 2021, with construction through the winter and into spring of 2022. So I guess that is in a nutshell the REDI projects for the village of Clayton. And that's what we've prepared here tonight for the community to see. We're certainly open to questions. I haven't been tracking because I've been talking, but I'm not sure, John or Rebecca, have we seen any questions come in?
Yeah, this is John Condino. We have been monitoring. We do have a couple of questions. And I think these are pretty easily addressed. Actually, we got another one, but so Joe Crispin asks, if elevation is raised at Memorial West, what impact will that have on the businesses? I think the answer to that is there are no plans to raise the elevation west of the monument because of the impact that it would have on the businesses. Chuck, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Well, it's a good point, John. And that's, one of the reasons we're looking at possible energy dissipation for high water and wave conditions. But yeah, with the businesses at the elevations they are and the construction of those buildings, we create a bathtub if we raise that any higher through there. And our concern would be that would have a negative effect on the buildings and the businesses. So I think that's very, in a nutshell, why that will remain at the elevation that it's at today.
Yep. Joe also asks, is your preliminary analysis included in the overall cost of the project? And he's specifically asking about B&L's cost to the village. And the answer to that is yes, our costs are included in the overall costs of the project. We had one more question from Jake Van Reenen. His question is, what about the upper town landing on Grindstone? We may need some help answering that.
Excuse me, John, this is Norma. Isn't
Yes.
that a town project? They got REDI money.
Okay.
And I think that the Grindstone docks and over there is under their REDI grant for the
Okay,
town.
so that's a town.
That's in the
covered
town,
with
yeah.
town projects. Okay. All right.
Looks like some more questions have come in there, John. I see.
They've all been addressed.
Well, have they all been addressed? Okay.
Yeah, they've been addressed. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep, that's a
gotcha.
town project. Yep.
Is there anything on YouTube?
That's all we've got so far that I see.
Kayla, did anything show up on YouTube?
Nope, I haven't seen anything.
No. This is a different format than I'm used to. I'm used to being in front of the people, but
I know.
and being able to just kind of have an interactive discussion. You know, again, I guess those that have attended, thank you. Thank you for those that asked questions. And, you know, while this is, you know, one of the villages, you know, attempts to reach out, certainly it won't be the last through this project. There'll be more information shared. And, you know, the village welcomes questions at any time. We'd encourage you to, you know, reach out to Mayor Zimmer if you have questions, and we can certainly work to get answers out if something comes up in the future.
Thank you, John, and your team for putting this together. It's was great that we were kind of organized to have an engineering team, that we started working on the project downtown for the pump station. We needed an engineer, and we went to great extremes to find a good one, and then we did find a great one, and it's been a great experience to work with Barton and the Judas, and look forward to bringing these projects all together with their help.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Norma.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate that. And these are great projects for the entire community. All right. I guess at this point, we're gonna end the webinar. Again, I will say thank you to all those that have attended. As I noted, this has been recorded, and you know, if anyone has questions about what was discussed moving forward, we can certainly follow up after the fact. Thank you and have a great night.
Okay, thanks, everybody.